Welcome everybody to 52 Living Ideas. We are going through Bhagavad Gita. We are on chapter 10. We are at verse 33. We are going quite systematically through these verses. And I'm really getting a lot from this chapter 10, much more than when I read it myself. So really thank you, Yogeshwar, for that. Let's start the reading. We're going to start with an English reading of the verse, and then we will go to Yogeshwar's commentary. Then we'll open it up for questions and comments. So as Yogeshwar is speaking, whatever questions you have, whatever comments you have, please write them down so we can get to all of them. Go ahead, David.
Of letters, I am the first letter A, and of compound words, the dual word. I am eternal, ever-flowing time, and the four-faced drama.
Thank you. Yogeshwar.
Aksharanamakarosmi dvandva samasikasya cha ahamevakshaya kalo dhataham vishvato mukha. Of all the letters, I am Akar. So there are quite a few things. The first thing is on verse 25. Krishna said, Giramasme kamakshara. Of all the sounds, I am one syllable, Om. And here now he's saying that out of all the letters, I am Akara. What we pronounce is the first alphabet in English, which is A. Yeah? One thing to note in here is out of all sounds, yes, because Om is not in the alphabet of Sanskrit. So out of all sounds, Krishna is Om. And out of all those letters in the alphabet, because Aksharanam, Akarusmi, out of all those letters in the alphabet, I am Akara. One thing to note is in the Paniniya Sutras of Vyakarana, they have all the letters, but they are quite different from how we might know the letters in Sanskrit, because how we pronounce the letters in Sanskrit, it's kakha, ga, ga, no, that's how we do them. Or even though in Hindi as well, it's kakha, ga, ga, cha, cha, ja, that's how they are made. But in Paniniya Sutra, ayun, rilrik, aon, ayouch, that's how they are.
Can you say it slowly one more time?
Sure. So in Paniniya Sutra, yeah, they are arranged differently, totally. A, I, un, ril, rik, a, on, I, ouch. That's how they are all. And it's the vowels and consonants all come in there. So there are 14 Paniniya Sutras. So Ayun is first.
Just to give context, Panini is grammar. You know, it's a different formulation. That's the early formulation of grammar. Go ahead, Yogeshwar.
Yes. So one thing to note there is the first in there is Akar. We would normally feel that in learning Hindi or learning Sanskrit, we do Kakha Gagan. So Ka is the first letter. But no, in grammar, in initial grammar, Akar is the first letter. And that's something to note. And another thing to note as well is that when we are saying Aksharanam Akarosmi, even though we are taking either we're taking Paniniya Sutra or we're taking normal Sanskrit alphabet, no letter in the alphabet in Sanskrit is said without Akar. Whether you say ka, it is ka with the akar. You can't pronounce any consonant in Sanskrit without akar. Akar needs to be there.
Let me just make sure. So akar means the sound added to the consonant. So like it is ka is ka, ko, and akar is a way of naming that sound So akar means the sound Go ahead.
Yeah. So whether it is Paniniya Sutra or it is the way we learn Sanskrit these days, normal Hindi these days, any consonant cannot be pronounced without akar. In that way as well, because now what the student will learn is the ka. Like if in English, the letter K, let's say, yeah, the pronunciation of letter K, which is ka. But that letter, which is pronounced, but it is not meant, it is like you can't pronounce it without akar. It's unpronounceable. How do you say? It's like you can't say it. Yeah. So it is the most relevant letter, but the teacher never actually says akar. The teacher will always say ka. He will mean the ka, but it will never be said only on its own. So in the same way, everything manifest is there. Yeah. And maybe we want to mean the manifest, but we can't say or we can't pull out the manifest. We can't even talk about the manifest without the unmanifest. It is, in a way, it is there, silently in there. Even though we are not talking about it, it's just there. Even though we don't mean to talk about it, it will always be said. That's how the unmanifest is. It's just like the akar, which is in the ka, ka, ga, ga. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that is very beautiful,
yeah.
right? Of saying that sound which is there in every sound as an integral part. Wonderful. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the whole of Paniniya Sutra, I would say it slowly. So this is how the letters are arranged in Paniniya Sutra. A, I, U, R, R, E, O, I, O, H, Ya, V, R, L, J, V, G, Nam, J, Bhai, G, Dh, Dhash, J, B, G, Dash, K, P, Ch, Th, Th, Ch, T, T, Kapai, Sh, Sar, Hal. So I've said all the letters, including the vowels and the consonants that are in Sanskrit. But this is the main organization of all the letters. And even in the Paniniya Sutra, if you want to say her, you have to say the like you have to say the you can't say like there will only be breath out, but like you won't be able to say anything. So that's how akar is viewed in Sanskrit. In English, it is totally a different way of saying, because you'll say even you'll say a, like you'll say a, but then you'll mean a. You'll say b, but you'll mean b. It will be totally different, like, because you need to put in, one thing is that you need to put in a consonant to pronounce a vowel. You can't pronounce, you need to put in a vowel to pronounce a consonant. You can't pronounce a consonant without a vowel. So you need a vowel. That's how important it is. And another thing is that in Sanskrit, it is only akar as a vowel that is used to pronounce any consonant. Dvandvaha samasikasya cha. Out of all the compound words. Now, in Sanskrit, there are so many types of compound words. One type is Duanga. Another type is Tatpurusha, Samasa. Another type is Bahuvri Samasa. Now, to get the context, I'll have to give some examples, which I'll give in English. I'll try to give them in English. For example, if we say playground, it is a compound word. What playground means, the play is not significant, the ground is significant. What you'll point to is the ground. You'll not point to the play. It is a ground in which you play. That's playground. So you'll point to a ground. So the main word there is ground. When you say a word like buttermilk, yeah, it is milk from which butter has been removed. It's not an easy word to pronounce in a way, because buttermilk would not, because in buttermilk there's no milk. Yeah, like it has already changed its own form, and there's no butter in it. It's totally referring to something else, not butter nor milk. At least in playground, it was referring to the ground, the last word. So in buttermilk, it is totally something else, neither butter nor milk, because what you're left with is not milk. It is, if we could say in Hindi, it's chas, or in Punjabi, lachi. Yeah, so that's what's left. It's neither milk nor the butter. Now, one thing to note, the first one I said is Tat Purusha. It means the last word is the main word. It's what you're referring to. The second type of samas is Bahuvri, which is like buttermilk. It is referring to something that is completely different from butter or milk. And the third type of samas, there are so many within, but these are the three main. So I'll go on to the main without going to the nitty-gritties. The last is Dvandvaha. Now, in Dvandvaha, both mean equally the same. There is no up and down like playground. It is like 76. This is just an example. Yeah. So 76. In 76, 70 means as much as the 6 means. If you add 70 and 6, that's when you'll get 76. You can't only say, I mean 6, I don't mean the 70, or I mean the 70 and I don't mean the 6, or I mean something different from 70 or 6. I mean the combination of 70 and 6. Now, in English, I totally understand that 76 is not a compound word. It is like 70, you'll put it different, like you'll say 70 and then 6. Even in writing, you'll not put them as one word. But I couldn't get nearest in English to Dvandva Samas. So that's the nearest I got. If 76 was a compound word, yeah, let's say it was, then it would mean something like this. That it means the combination of both of them, not the first word only, not the last word only, not anything apart from both of the words. In that way, now Krishna is saying that I am Dvandvaha. In a way, now in the context, now we can know that what Dvandva means is the combination of everything. And in a combination, if we know about synergy a bit, in a combination, there is some energy that is more than the combination, not just the combination. That's what Dvandva Samasa means. It's not just the combination of the words as they are, but it is like the combination of both of the words. And that combination brings out more energy than just the words themselves. That is Dvandva Samas. And unlike English, Sanskrit can have any type of samas. You can even write out new words using these three types of samases. Yeah, you can write out new words, your own words. That's how Sanskrit is made. It's made to evolve, not to stay as it is. Ahamevakshaya kalo. I am that time. Now, kala means time. I am that time that never ends. One reference that Krishna has already made to time is on verse 30, which is kala kalayatamaha. I am time out of all those that count. Here Krishna is referring to time as from another perspective. That perspective is that which does not diminish. If we think about it, 1 second right now means the same as another second the next time, and another second the next time. In a way, time never diminishes. It's always as important as it was before. In another way as well, time has always been, like from the time of creation to the time of destruction. Time will always be. There is no time that time is not there. You can't even think about a time that doesn't exist. We have known about so many philosophical examples, like, can you think about this? Maybe you can think about yourself without a head in the mirror when you wake up the next day. Or you can think about yourself without a mind. But can you think about yourself without time, like without the context of time? There's no time you can do that. Even in a dream, the context of time is there. You can dream about anything, whatever you feel like. Whether you can fly in the dream, or you can do many different things in the dream. But the context of time is always there. There is no time you can even contemplate or think about that time cannot be. So it is there in reality. That is one thing to accept. And another thing to accept is you cannot think that time will not be. And the first point that I made is time is always as important. It is akshaya. If 1 second is important right now, when I get to the next second, it will be as important. And the third second will be as important. If you have the practice of staying in the present, then you slowly realize that staying in the present, it brings to you the importance of time. It brings to you how important time is. Each and every second is. Each and every kshan, if you could say in Hindi, is. None is to be left without consideration. Every conscience, even if you could say microsecond, is important to your life. Things are happening in your body without you knowing, in each and every second. And even thoughts are happening. If you want to stay in the present, then you should be knowing everything that is happening in each and every moment of your life. And in that way, time is important. Dhataham vishwato mukhaha. I am dhata. Dhata means that which, on which everything is. If you remove, like for us, if you remove the earth from beneath, then it will be like I can't stay on the ground. Yeah, there will be no base for me to sit on. The same way, dhata means that on which everything is best. In a way, if we could see it, I am seated on maybe a chair. Yeah, so chair is my dhata. The chair is seated on something, on earth, or maybe if you could say on the basement of your house. And the basement of your house is seated on the earth. Now the earth is being moved by the gravity of the sun. Yeah. Now even the sun is being moved by something, like there is something that is keeping it there. There is something that is moving it or keeping it there. If anything is moving or it is in its own place, both. They both have something that are keeping them in place. And that is the ultimate, which is within everything. It's keeping everything moving as well as in its own place right now. Vishwato Mukha. This is a great metaphor in a way. Because if we look at it, Vishwato Mukha means Krishna is saying that I have my face facing towards all directions in the whole world. If we take it literally, then it's not possible. You can't have your face facing all directions. But if you take it as a metaphor, it's really important as a metaphor. Because when you say Vishwato Mukha, it means that Krishna is saying that in each and every anu, or in each and every smallest particle you can think about, I am there. And since I am there, since the ultimate is there in each and every particle in the world, in each and every body in the world, in each and every plant in the world, then everything is being faced by the ultimate. The ultimate is facing everything, and everything is being faced by the ultimate. There's nothing that is not facing the ultimate. It's like when you see yourself in the mirror, that which is in the mirror is facing you at that time. But then when you get off the mirror, it's not facing you at that time. But in Vishwato Mukha, in that metaphor, what it means is all existence is facing the ultimate, and the ultimate is facing all of existence. They can't stay without each other. They are all combined in that. That combination is what is fascinating. How both of them are combined, manifest and unmanifest, and they are always together.
Wow. Yogeshwar, that was beautiful. I am really liking this chapter. I mean, the different ways in which Krishna is describing the interaction between the center and the periphery, all the relations, and describing it by taking these different examples of the alphabet, of the facing. For example, center and periphery. Center always faces the periphery, and it goes back and forth of saying that I am the master and I'm the support. I'm the master and the ruler and the support. I'm the principle that is driving it. The time, I mean, it just goes on and on. It's just amazing, amazingly beautiful chapter. Folks, we want to keep this interactive. So feel free to ask any question that you want about Gita. Go ahead and type exclamation mark to ask questions. Just try to keep your questions brief so we can keep, we can get to as many different questions per verse as possible. And that's what the philosophy is about. Now let's take Louis's question. I know she has problems with her mic. So somebody who is familiar with the Old Testament, could you describe, either David or anybody else who knows about Old Testament? Could you describe for us, what does I am the Alpha and Omega mean? David, Penny, anybody else, Joe? Ebony, go ahead.
So the Alpha and Omega means I am the beginning and the end. So when they say I am the Alpha and Omega, I started everything and I will end everything. And that's in reference to God the Father. So that's what that means.
Very good. Yogeshwar, how would Bhagavad Gita address this question of beginning and end?
In Gita, since it is mostly towards personal enlightenment, yes? So how we view everything in the world, if I could take it a bit extensive, just to give an example, that when we look at a stone and we look at a flower is more important in a way. It is more valuable to ourselves because certainly it has life. It has life. So it is, in a way, we'll feel the beauty of it. And then put a flower and a peacock, yeah, a dancing peacock. And then you'll see that even though a flower is important, but when it comes to valuable life, yeah, a peacock is more valuable in a way, like not just valuable in terms of money, but I'm saying in terms of consciousness. It has more consciousness in that way. And then when we look at even though it is a baby, yeah, small baby, then when we put in that context, then a small baby is even more important. Even though the baby doesn't have any knowledge or it doesn't have any thoughts about how we think, or it doesn't know about the world, still it's more important than the peacock because it has the potential. It has that potential of knowing of the mind. And then going on, like according to what I've learned in the Gita and in the Upanishads, how Indian philosophy brings about it is, if in that, because the mind is really important, like to go to the ends or to the boundaries of the mind is really important. Like if you take Einstein, then if we could say that he had gone to the boundaries of the mind, he was the most flowered in all humans, in scientists, we could say. And then if we take a person who is in dhyana or is one concentrated, then he is more valuable than a baby. And a person who has known the ultimate, yeah, is more valuable than a person who has just known dhyan. Now, if we take it to that context, because the ultimate here is like in the Bible, God is saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega. So I am the Omega, like I am that who has reached the ultimate. He has known me. But then, according to Indian philosophy, in Indian context, the ultimate is in everything from the start, like whether it is a stone, if you could say it is, yeah? Whether it's a stone all through to a person who has gotten to the ultimate, who has known the ultimate is everywhere, yeah? Who has had that experience. So the ultimate is within each and every. I am within like the start of consciousness. we could say, like when consciousness was not born. And when consciousness is born a bit in a peacock or any other animal, yeah, and then when consciousness is to its flowering, where somebody can know the ultimate, that I am from the start to the end. And how it views it is that if you put a seed into the ground, it becomes a tree. Now a tree becomes the seed again. So in that way, in the tree, yeah, like if you have a seed in the tree, then there should have been a seed before as well. Like it's a cyclical process in a way. In the same way, the ultimate, if you can realize it in the most prominent form of consciousness, if you can realize the ultimate, then the ultimate has been there from the start.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Yogeshwar. So the way I would answer that is that the Bhagavad Gita and the Indian philosophy is holding that everything is eternal and it goes through cycles. So there are these cycles of creation, sustenance, and destruction going on while everything is eternal. So there is transformation going on. So it is cyclical with, this is an eternal cycle is how it looks at time. Next up is Joe. Joe.
You've already kind of answered my question in a way. I mean, I know I do want to come back to the compound words, but I still need to form my thoughts around that. But what I can ask is this: so the idea that that I'm imperishable time, I mean, that's the idea of infinity, right? And we were just talking about the cyclical nature of everything and the omnipresence aspect of that. So does the master and the ruler whose faces are everywhere ensure that process is it that process takes place, like it's a God that's actually active in the world? I mean, like that's making sure that everything, so that's what I'm kind of asking. Is it the ruler that, yeah.
Let me go ahead and read Sri Aurobindo's commentary on the term timeless. He says, God is imperishable, beginningless, unending time. This is his most evident power of becoming and the essence of the whole universal movement. In that movement of time and becoming, God appears to our conception or experience of him by the evidence of his works as the divine power who ordains and sets all things in their place in the movement. In his form of space, it is he who fronts us in every direction, million-bodied, myriad-minded, manifest in each existence. We see his faces on all sides of us. So this is the idea that there is this Brahma in everything. So everywhere you look, it is Brahma, all sides. Yogeshwar, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so what I would like to say that Joe's question was that Vishwato Mukha, like that which is facing all the manifest, the unmanifest that is facing all the unmanifest, the manifest. Is it like, does it have to do anything to move the manifest? Like, does it have to put in energy to move in the manifest? Now, how I would like to put it, because this is how Indian philosophy views it, is that look at gravity as some energy, yeah. So gravity is there. Now the laws of gravity are always there. If you throw a stone up in the sky, the stone will come back down. So you know that gravity is doing all this, but gravity doesn't have to put in energy to do all this. It is just there. Like the presence itself just makes everything happen. So in the same way, how the ultimate is, the unmanifest is that just the presence of the ultimate, it makes everything happen. Everything just happens on its own when the ultimate shows its presence.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's move to number 34. David, could you read it?
Yes. So, I am all-devouring death, also of the 6 manifestations of all living entities. I am the first as birth. Of feminine attributes, I am fame, beauty, perfect speech, memory, intellect, patience, and compassion.
Thank you. Yogeshwar?
Mrityu sarvaharaschaham udbhavascha bhavisyatam kirti shrirvakcha narinam smritir medha dhritikshama. Mrityu sarvaharaschaham. So one place that is relative, it's not the exact word, but in 29, yama sanyamatamaham, which is relative to mrityu, because it's the concept of mrityu. Here, Krishna is saying in verse 34, mrityu sarvaharaschaham. In a way, what death does is to take everything from you. Only leave you as you are, like leave your essence only. What death does is to take away everything that is not you. It only leaves you in the middle. Sarvahara. So sarvahara means it takes away everything. One thing death cannot take away is yourself, your existence. In the same way, what Krishna is trying to say here is sarvahara, meaning that if you take away everything from your own self, like if you strip away everything, strip away like everything you think may be yourself and can be stripped away, then what you'll essentially remain with is the ultimate. That is the way of Sankhya. That is the way of getting to what is through the negative path. So you'll strip out everything that is not, meaning sarvahara, you'll take away everything. And then you'll realize that what I am is the ultimate. Udbhavascha bhavishyatam. Krishna here is saying that Udbhava aham, bhavishyatam aham. What is being produced or what is being created, what is being born is me. What will be born in the future is also me. Any creation that is being done is me. If we could view it in that way, is, you know, our own life force. If in Hindi it's called Chetna. So Chetna, if we could call it life force in English. What it does is when we get to a new creation, when something new is created, whether it is in your own hobbies that you create something, or it is at your workplace that something new is created, or is it when a newborn baby is born, yeah? Or even though it is when a great painter has created a marvelous painting, all those creations what happens is your own life force gets to a new form, like it goes ahead. There's something new that sparks within. It doesn't stay the same. It evolves at that time when something new is created. When something new is created, that life force that is being evolved, that is main here. And everything that is going to be created. So creation is a very profound thing in Indian philosophy, whereby if I see that I am creating something new, when your life stops creating something new, it will be like your life has stopped. You've stopped living. There's something missing within your life. That is the life force that is not being able to create something new. And even in the world, if we see, the process of evolution is continuously being. That means that, that process of evolution is really important. And that process of creation that human beings are doing is really important because it takes you to the brim of consciousness. It takes you to another level of consciousness. It takes your life ahead. So in that way, everything that is born, that which is being born, and that which will be born in the future is me, because that's how consciousness evolves, by creating something new. Shrikant, you want to say something?
Yes. I mean, I think this is a very profound point, and this is a hallmark of the Indian way of thinking about things in a cyclical manner, accepting the reality of destruction and creation and sustenance. So going through this Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So this kind of cyclical way of thinking, of saying, accepting destruction of things serenely, knowing that it is through destruction of things that creation is made possible. It is a cyclical process. And regarding all these three things, creation, sustenance, and destruction, as gods, this is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. And all that Trimurti is part of the Brahma, that is the nature of existence itself. That's a very profound point. If anybody has any thoughts or questions about just that, of kind of cyclical nature of Indian thought, as opposed to kind of almost like a linear nature of many of the kind of implicit concepts in the West, go ahead and type exclamation mark. This is like, this is John Boyd's destruction and creation, that you have to continuously keep on destroying your own ideas. This is a solution to being attached to your habits, to your ideas, to your thoughts, and to your emotions, of saying, be open to the world, accept the destruction of what is yours, because only through that you can reintegrate and create. Let's go with Gary, followed by Joe. Gary. Oh, just a second. Hold on. I need to unmute everybody. Hold on. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Gary.
Actually, yeah, that was my question, was about the all-devouring death, and if it's alluding at that point to the ultimate release, the dissolution even of the self at that point, when even we cease to exist.
Go ahead, Yogeshwar.
Sorry, I didn't get the question exactly.
Gary, could you repeat your question?
My question is about maybe the cycles of reincarnation, And when he says the all-devouring death, is he referring to how everything will ultimately end that cycle? That's like the end of that, where even myself and my own ego becomes dissolved at that point. And I am the process by which even that takes place, to where I become one with all things.
Yes, so Mrityu Sarvaharascha. Yeah, so that is what it means actually, because like I explained before as well, Sarvahara means when you take away everything from your own identity, what you think is yourself. Like when you take away everything, what remains is you, yourself, as in not the concept of self, but what actually exists as you. And that existence is the ultimate. And that is the point here, because when you take away everything, you are left with what is.
Thank you. Next up is Joe.
I was just going to ask maybe for clarification on the evolution of consciousness, what you meant by that.
Go ahead, Yogeshwar.
Yes, so in Indian thought, we always have this, that however, whichever part of the world, or whatever type of education, whatever type of work profession you are in, there is a possibility that your consciousness can evolve. There is a possibility that you can get to the greatest heights of consciousness. And that is what is valued. You are not processed by anything that is below consciousness, like the type of work you do, or whoever you are, whatever type of education you're brought up with, doesn't matter. What matters is, have you evolved your consciousness? One thing about evolving of consciousness is, can you strip out everything that you are not and then stay with what you are? When you're constantly with what you are, what you essentially are, then, because like stripping out doesn't happen in one day. It's not like physical stripping out. So it happens over time, slowly by slowly. And since it happens over time, there are some times whereby you've stripped out that part of you one day, and then the other day, because it was a constant habit, it again comes back and sticks back on you. So that happens like in the process. So you've stripped out something one day, like one day you'll feel like, oh, I'm totally void of any thoughts. And then the next day, a whole lot of thoughts will come back. So it is a process of evolution. It is a process of flowering in that way, that it will, because it happens over time and your habits have not yet left you totally. So you have to give a bit of force towards knowing yourself, towards getting to the consciousness, towards stripping away what is not you. And that is, in a way, it is a cycle, because your habits will come back to you. And then you'll have to break your habits again and again.
Wonderful. I want to make 3 quick points about this, because accepting the cycle, accepting the change, accepting the destruction and creation cycle is aimed at turning your focus towards what is constant, what is the constant part of you. So we have looked at it in 3 different contexts so far. In chapter 2, there is the concept of sthita prajna, that your wisdom, your inner light remains steady no matter what is happening around you, whether it is positive or negative. That consciousness remains with you. The second is, we have looked at it from the concept of non-attachment, that not being attached to something. And third, we have looked at it from the perspective that Yogeshwar is talking about right now. Who am I? Because what happens is that we get attached, we attach our identity, who we are, to something which is in the periphery, which is changeable. You know, either physical things, emotional things, your thought, and you identify yourself with that rather than your core. So all of, you know, this thinking about acceptance of changes is all about directing your attention towards your atma, towards your soul, towards the core of your being. All right. Thank you, Yogeshwar. Let us proceed.
Kirti Shrirvakcha Narinam Smritir Medha Dhriti Kshama. Out of all the feminine qualities. Now, these are called feminine qualities. It doesn't mean that they are not within a man. The qualities are feminine. And in a way, how Indian culture views this is that you yourself are made out of your father and your mother. So you are not only like masculine only in your emotions, in your being. You are not only masculine, you are feminine as well. And what you need to know is that if there is a female, like full-fledged female, then she should have these feminine qualities flowering within herself. And what happens is, what you'll notice in verse 34, the half part of it, each and every quality that is put in there, it is in the feminine version, like Kirti, Shri, Vak, they're all feminine. In Sanskrit, like in grammar, Sanskrit grammar, those words are feminine. Well, something like Dhriti, which could be Dhiraja, like in masculine, in Sanskrit as well, like it can be put as both. Dhriti is the feminine version of the same quality, which is Dhiraja. But here what they're talking about is the feminine version of all the qualities. One thing to note here as well is that not that these qualities will not be in a male, but even though these qualities are in a male, know them that they are feminine qualities. They are something that are feminine in nature. Kirti. Kirti here is not fem. What I would like to call it is honor rather than fem. So honor describes Kirti more. And in honor as well, what I would like to add in there in the English context, because here, when they're talking about Narina, they're not talking about any other feminine. What they're talking about is those qualities that have flowered, not only those that have the potential to flower, but the qualities that have flowered within the feminine. If you can take an example, it is like Pativrata Stri, like the concept of Pativrata. In the Pativrata, all the qualities of the feminine have flowered to their infinite potential, like they've gone to the highest potential within them. So honor in this context, you may think that according to English, it is being pushed to its limits, but this is how Indian culture views it. Not just honor as you see it, but normally when you see any lady, any female, whether it's an advert or it is just any TV show or anything, the first thing you see is their beauty, and you're attracted to them by their beauty. It is not a bad thing, but there are also other qualities that you can see in a female. One thing is honor. When you look at that female who has honor fully flowered within them, you will realize that when you just see them, whether they're beautiful or they're not beautiful, whether their face looks good or not, that quality of honor just attracts you towards them. It just like somebody may even think that this person is not beautiful. Why is this person attracted to them? It is the honor that attracts. And when it's honor that attracts, it's totally a different quality. If you see, it's not just because of beauty that you are attracted, but because of honor. In a way, we see honor is that we honor people who are of a higher status than us. Now here, it is honor of consciousness. They are at a level of consciousness that when you look at them, just by looking at them, even all those energies that are running downwards within you, like they're always running downwards within you, even those energies start moving upwards. They start going to the highest level of your consciousness as well. That is how Kirti is viewed. Shri, in one way, the first noticeable thing is that Lakshmi, who is always at the side of Krishna, who is always at the side of the ultimate, is also given the name as Shri. Shri is the highest a feminine can get to. Like it is the highest level of consciousness. Not just being above you in consciousness. Like in Kirti, what happens is we are at a lower levels of consciousness. When a feminine like that Kirti, which is honor of being at a higher level of consciousness. But Shri means the highest, not just higher. When you get to the highest level of consciousness as a feminine, that is how it is viewed, like Lakshmi. And when we see Lakshmi, it is like you just feel like bowing down because you've seen the highest level of consciousness. That is what can be. And as a feminine quality, because these qualities are feminine qualities, it doesn't mean they're only in females. They are also in males, but the qualities in themselves essentially are feminine. In a Pativrata Stri, when you see a Pativrata, like the highest level of feminine that is viewed in Indian culture, whether you could say Savitri or you could say Anusuya, so all those that had reached the highest level. When you even look at a Pativrata, even though you yourself are filled with urges, you yourself are filled with desires, all those desires and urges just flow away. There is that feeling that just comes when you just look at them, like, or you're just in the presence of them. All those desires just move away from you. And that is a different type of being. Like when all desires are just out of you. And Vak, like the purest of speech. And what we can see is that in the story of Savitri as well, as we've also done it in 52 Living Ideas. So in the story of Savitri, what Yama, the Lord of Death, says to Savitri at the end is that I am really touched by the way you're speaking to me. Like that speech that Savitri gave. And that question of back and forth. That is perfect speech. That is the purest of speech. And the way Savitri was not even scared of death. She was not even worried that I'm in the presence of death. I should not even ask any questions to death, or I cannot ask for anything from death. And Savitri just continues asking and questioning, and see how that is perfect speech at the highest level of consciousness. Smruti. The masculine version of smruti is just by thought, like when you remember something. The feminine version of smruti is when you remember something with each and every cell of your body. You know, when a female maybe has a locket in her hand and then is remembering a beloved one, it is not just through the mind. It is not only just emotions. It is something from each and every cell of their body. Like each and every cell of their body is calling towards the person they love. And that calling towards the person they love is smruti, the feminine version of smruti. And it is way more profound than just remembering by thought or just remembering by emotion. It is something that you cannot, like, it just becomes part of you. To put it into context of consciousness, how it is viewed is when you remember what you are, because what we are right now, but we have just forgotten what we are. So what smruti in this context means is when you remember what you are, each and every cell in your life force, like each and every, I don't know, prana, all your prana will just be towards that, like, because it is you, like it is just pulled towards that. You can't even have any moment without thinking about it, contemplating on it, and your whole life is pulled towards that. It's not just by contemplating in your mind or just thinking about it that you'll receive it, but remembrance, smruti, in that way, that it is from the profoundness of your life force that it comes. And then you'll, like, that remembrance is not just a small thing in consciousness. It is the remembrance of yourself. It is like, you know, you're looking for this great treasure. You've gone below the seas and you've gone to the highest of mountains. You've even gone to the deepest of earth to get that treasure. And then when you realize that that treasure that you're looking for was within your house all this time, but you didn't know it. So that's the feeling you get. Like when you remember, yes, it is here. It's always been within me, the ultimate that I was looking outside. That is the experience. Medha. Now, medha, not just buddhi that we think about, not just the concepts that we have acquired from anything from outside, but those concepts that arise from within. Not because you're contemplating on something that's outside, but there is that profundity of concepts, that who am I, or what am I not? Yeah? And what is the ultimate? What is running this whole world? What is the life force that runs even the finger that I want to put up? All that is in medha. And when you realize that, yes, you will also try to explain to someone what those concepts mean. Now, those concepts, when you explain them to someone, when they become words, they will not be the same. That's one thing to note. That experience that you have had is totally different. Dhriti, the male version of Dhriti, which is Dheeraj, is known as, like, mainly in the past, in war, like you can persevere in war or you can persevere through life. But Dhriti in feminine version of the Indian context is, you know, when you have a baby in your womb and you have to take care of that baby for 9 months. That dhriti that you need, that perseverance that you need, it is part of you. Yeah? And that love that you give with the dhriti, it's not just persevering through life in any way.
Can I say something? I just love these Sanskrit words, dhruti. The here is to hold. So this is like steady, holding steady. So steadfast is what this word means. It's just beautiful how the combination of roots work in Sanskrit. Go ahead, Yogeshwar.
Yeah, so dhriti in the feminine version, it's not just persevering through life, not just persevering that keeping the womb in your, like, keep the baby in the womb, but something more profound. When you're also giving love to the womb, like you're loving it, it's not perseverance that you have to take onto yourself. It is that perseverance that you accept onto yourself. When we talk about perseverance in life, we talk about, like, you should be strong in a mental way, in a bodily way. But when you look at it in the feminine version, it's not just the strength that you're talking about. It is that love that you can give, that acceptance that you can give to perseverance. That, yes, I accept to persevere. I accept this womb, and I accept that I have to carry it for 9 months. And then not just accepting as well, you love it as it is part of you. And in the same way, when you realize, when you even get a spark of who you are, then you'll persevere, you'll accept, and you will love. You'll get all that strength from within you. It is just from within. You don't have to make it from outside. Like, you don't have to be that strong and that rigid sort of person. It will just come as acceptance, as love within you. And when that arises within you, then you will know that dhriti has come within me. Not just perseverance in the outside world, or not just persevering through inner dwellings of the mental activities, but that profound acceptance and that profound love that comes with dhriti is with it. Shama, if we directly translate it, it is forgiveness. One thing I would like to talk about forgiveness is, when there is somebody who is stronger than us and has done something wrong to us, when we can't fight back to them, that's not forgiveness. It's just something that you can't do because you can't fight back. You are not fighting back. Another point is that when there is somebody who is, like, weaker than you, let's say, and then they do something wrong to you, you have all the strength, and then you still go on to forgive them. That is forgiveness. That is true forgiveness, in a way. Another perspective to put into forgiveness here is, when not just forgiving mentally, because when feminine forgives, it forgives, like, from the best of their own life. Like, when they forgive, it's like forgiving, it's totally. They don't even think about anything that you did wrong unto them. So that type of forgiveness, whereby not just telling them, I forgive you, and not only that you've not done anything back to them, like you've not taken revenge, not only that as well, but you don't also have any thought about the wrong things that they did unto you. That profoundness of forgiveness is what is being talked about here. So all these qualities that are feminine, they are much valued in Indian culture. Like if you talk about a pativrata, like even though it's just to so many people in Indian context, they will just have like their, like, you know, you have a chill up your spine, or you know, you have your hairs like this standing. So just talking about the concept of pativrata, that is how Indian culture views it. Like if there's so many people in front of you and they're just talking about pativrata, all of them will have this profound you know, being within them, like they will feel it. Like what pativrata means is this feminine who has reached flowering within them. And one thing I would like to talk about is, you know, sometimes we start valuing the masculine values so much. We start valuing getting honor in the masculine way, like in the outside way, like getting femme, if you could say in that way. And we value speech in the masculine way, that you should get aggressive in your speech. And sometimes we start valuing dhriti or dheeraj in the masculine way. You start valuing perseverance in the masculine way. That now you start moving towards the masculine rather than also valuing the feminine. I'm not saying you move towards the feminine totally, but you see the profound acceptance of masculine. Yes, it's there. I value it. And then even the feminine, whereby somebody can do unto you something and you completely forget about it. Like you don't need to even think about it. That type of forgiveness. Also value that as well. Like not only the masculine values that we know right now, but the feminine values that Indian culture has put in the context. And I'm also seeing in India as well, like so many masculine values are valued more now rather than the feminine values as well. You know, each quality has the feminine and the masculine within them. And when Krishna says, I value the feminine versions of these qualities, then there is a profoundness in those qualities.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Yogeshwar. I really like your, just this extensive description of it. I'm going to read Naneshwar's commentary on this, because this is, again, a very profound point. In the West, we always think of God as masculine. This is not so in the Indian context. So actually what Krishna is saying is that I am masculine too. So all the things that are masculine are part of nature, are part of my vibhutis. This is the beautiful thing about this particular chapter, is that it is showing you all the manifestations of the ultimate, all the manifestations of the universal principles. So Naneshwar puts it very directly. He says, Ata samastra strizatit majha vibhuti asti sat. So he's saying that all the expressions which are characteristically feminine are my expressions. That is me. That's what he's saying. So now I'm going to describe it, he says. So he says, this expression of honor in everyday life in a woman is my murti, that is my sculpture, is like my statue, is my expression. Similarly, आणि औदार्य VA जी संपत्ती तीही मीच. So I am the generosity of wealth. न्यायाच्या आसनी बसून विवेक रथावरती आरूढ होऊन, by sitting on the seat of justice and riding on the chariot of virtue, ते जे वाचेचे प्रकटन ते मीच अर्जुना. The words, the expression in speech that captures that justice and virtue, that is me. पदार्थासी त्या पाहुणे मनी येते जी आठवण, ते ज्या स्मृती कारण ती मी स्मृती. So the ability that you have of remembering things, that too is me. But you see what he's doing? This is the same pattern throughout the entire chapter 10. He's looking at every expression in the existence and saying, this is part of me. This is me. Not even part of, this is me, is what he's saying. So it is like encompassing, embracing all of the world. This is God embracing the center, embracing everything in the periphery and saying, this is all me. So this is pushing back against saying, no, it is not this. This is kind of, this is like a weakness or anything. He's embracing all of that. त्या मेधा क्षमा धृती माझेचे रूप अस्ति. The expression of kshama, of forgiveness, is my expression, is my roop. So it's my my nature itself. Prakatuni tya ya jagati nandati sada. And all these different characteristics are expressed in this world and they live on. Aisya ya narit vase meets banuna shakti sat. So I live in women by becoming their unique characteristics. आणि असे मग चालत हे संसार चक्र. And this is an integral part of what makes the world go round. So you can see that it is fully embracing the yin as well as yang and saying that that is the part of the Tao. Both yin and yang are part of Tao. All right. So folks, now we will take questions. Jason had a great question. Jason, can you go ahead and unmute and ask the question?
Yeah, I think Joe answered. So, but I assume, okay, in the Sanskrit words, I would not say every word, but a lot of words have both feminine and masculine form, right? Like kriti as an honor is in female and also have a male form of honor. Forgiveness, shama, is the female form, and they have another form, it's a masculine forgiveness. So am I correct? That's right.
Go ahead, Yogesh.
Yes, Dhriti has two forms, Dhriti and Dhiraj. Now, what we need to know is not all the words here have two forms, because not all of them are viewed to be like, you see, Dhiraj, like perseverance, it's known to be flowering for both. what happens in Shama, like normally forgiveness, like if you normally just forgive, if you're only forgiving in your life, like you don't do anything back, then if you are a male, you're taken as you can't do anything, you're strengthless. Yeah. So that is only a feminine quality in a way. Not that I'm saying it's a weakness. I'm saying it's a feminine quality that Krishna accepts. And that can only be feminine. It can't be masculine in Sanskrit. So Kshama or so some like Smriti can be masculine as well, but not all.
Thank you. Next up is Jason. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. So I just want to make it clear. So as a male like me, okay, when I forgive you, I can have two ways to forgive you, right? I can have a Shama way or the other muscular way to forgive. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So even when a male forgives, they can forgive femininely or they can forgive masculinely. Yeah. So even that's also viewed in that way.
This answer maybe want to learn Sanskrit. So
Thank you. Evanik.
So I have a question about the masculine and feminine aspect of it. So I always, I remember from our Jordan Peterson meetups with the Bible, it was saying that order is a masculine trait and chaos is a feminine trait. And in the beginning, like it's almost like you need both. So is it that we need both in terms of forgiveness, the masculine and the feminine? Or can it just be one or the other?
Go ahead, Yogeshwar.
Yes. So we have both in ourselves, whether it is Dhruti, Shama, Kirti, both of them, the feminine version and the masculine version. But you see the root of Kshama, like forgiveness, where Krishna is saying that I am this quality within the feminine. I am the feminine version of this quality, meaning that when you have forgiven the masculine way, you've not really forgiven. Yeah? You only really forgive when you forgive the feminine way. It's not that Krishna is saying that never forgive the masculine way, because even Krishna himself, sometimes, like if you look how he killed Dronacharya, like even with a lie, like his son has died. Ashwathama hato hata. So it was like a comparative lie that Krishna made Yudhishthir say to Dronacharya. So in that way, you can see that Krishna is accepting both, but then when Krishna is accepting the whole world. But when it comes to seeing the ultimate within, like Krishna has to pick, like I am the feminine version of Kshama, because that's what shows you towards the ultimate. It shows you the last point that forgiveness can go to. And it is in these qualities. Now, in other qualities, then Krishna will say, I am the masculine qualities of this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, let's go to the next verse. David, could you read the next verse?
Sure, just one thing. Yeah, and then one thing that is also notable in Indian culture is how Krishna and Radha are viewed. How Krishna and Radha are viewed is that Krishna cannot stay even 1 second without Radha. Yeah, that's how it is viewed. It's like they are one and the same. There's like no different identity for both of them. It's like the divine, how divinity is viewed is like not only masculine, but the masculine is with the feminine with it. If you have seen, I don't know, if anyone has seen, but those who have been in India and have seen like the series of Sri Krishna or Mahabharata and all that, how Krishna is shown sometimes, even in the divine form. It's like you can't see one. It's like both are there at the front. Not only one, not only the masculine, but Krishna and Radha, both of them. And when you bow down to Krishna and Radha, or Krishna and Lakshmi at the same time. So divinity is viewed as both, not only one.
Okay, I cannot resist this, Yogeshwar. So there is a word here, Shri, in this. Shri is the goddess of wealth, that's Lakshmi. And Kant means husband. So my name means Shri Kant. So I'm husband of the goddess of wealth, which is a name of Vishnu. So so I have very high standards to live up to. So, you know, I have very, very large shoes to fill. Next, David, go ahead and read the next one, please.
Okay. Of the Samaveda hymns, I am the Sama. Also of the mantras composed in poetic meter, I am the Gayatri. Of the months, I am the harvest months in fall, and of seasons, the spring.
Thank you. Yogeshwar, go ahead.
Bruhat Sama Tatha Samnam Gayatri Chandasamaham Samnam Masanam Marga Shirshoham Ritunam Kusumakara. Out of all the Sam Vedic mantras, I am Bruhat Sam. Now, Bruhat Sam is a mantra made out of 8 syllables. It is a mantra whereby when you're giving towards the existence, you pronounce that mantra. And that mantra, in a way, is profound, that when you're saying that mantra, it doesn't only mean the mantra, but it means you are giving to the ultimate, something that you can't really do, like in context. The ultimate is greater than you. You can't really give to the ultimate. But when you see the ultimate, like when you have come into contact with the ultimate, you just feel like giving. You just feel like, I can't stay without giving. How can I? I have to give something. And if I don't find anything to give, then you give yourself to the ultimate. This is how Bruhat Sam is viewed. It's not, yeah, sorry.
Yogeshwar, can you do us a favor? Can you say the Bruhat Sam, what it is, and explain what it means?
Yeah, just a second. I was also just getting to it. Yes. So Bruhat Sam is in the Samveda, and how it is pronounced, yeah, it is supposed to be like, what do you call it? It's supposed to be sung, but I am not such a good singer, so I will not be able to sing it as it is. But what I'll try to do is just say it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, Om Sama Om Swaha Savitah. So it's just 8 syllables only that.
Mm-hmm.
What it means is that I am giving to the ultimate. Yeah, whether it means giving myself totally, or you have something to offer to the ultimate, then you're saying this. What the initial translation means is that I offer to the ultimate. Now, if you look at the context up and down, like in the Samved itself, you can see that previously, that person has given so much to the ultimate. Like in the psalm as well, he has given flowers, he has given even food to the ultimate, he has offered food, he has offered his own mind to the ultimate. And then slowly by slowly, he has offered his own smruti to the ultimate. He has offered his own prana to the ultimate. He has offered his own ego to the ultimate. And then when there's nothing left to offer, and then the Bruhat Sam comes, that now I have nothing else to offer.
Can you say it one more time and translate it word by word?
Just a second. Yeah. One thing, let me first explain it, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah. So that explanation about what was there before, what the person or the person who is offering has offered everything that he can. He has offered his smruti, he has offered his prana. What happens here now is there's nothing left to offer when it comes to Bruhat Sam, when it comes to reciting the Bruhat Sam. What he has is himself. It's like, you know, you're only the water, the droplet of the water. And now there's nothing else that you are. The only thing you can do is let yourself, which is the droplet of water, fall into the massive ocean. That's all you can do. And then that happens. Yeah? That experience comes in, that I have given myself to the ultimate because I want to know it. And the only way for a drop to know the ocean is to become one with the ocean. You can never know about the ocean. You can only know the ocean. And to know the ocean is not staying separate from it, but becoming one with it. So Bruhat Sama is known as this. Tvam Om Tvamit Avamahe Savita. So what it means is Tvam, meaning you, towards you. Iddhi means I offer. Havamahe means like whatever I am left with. So as I had explained before, like in the previous verses, everything else has been offered. Like there's nothing remaining now. So what the offering is right now, it's not a small offering. It is the offering of your whole self. It is the offering of your own existence towards the ultimate, because you want to know the ultimate.
Wow. Wow. It's amazing. Amazing. Go ahead.
Gayatri Chandasamaham. So out of all the chanda, I am Gayatri. So the Gayatri Mantra goes Om Bhur Bhuvaswah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om. Gayatri Mantra has 24 syllables. And the number of syllables in a mantra matter. Like it matters how many syllables it has, how long it takes to recite the mantra, and how it affects your whole body. So in that way, when you look at it, so first the basic translation. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Bhur Bhuva Swaha means that which I know, means Bhur, that earth which I know, the plane of reality which I know. So Bhur Bhuva Swaha, Bhuva means Bhuva and Swaha are the planes of reality that I am not aware of, meaning the highest plane of reality and the lowest plane of reality, both of them. Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha Tat Savitur Varenyam. Tat Savitu. Now, what you're saying is all reality, what I know or what I do not know. Tat means that. Savitu Varenyam. What you're looking at reality as is, you're giving a metaphor of the sun. It is as bright as the sun. If we could look like within ourselves, the center of reality is like the sun. It has all the light within itself. There's not even a spark which is less within the sun. That's Savitu means the sun. Varenyam. Varenyam means like when you are choosing. Yeah, so Varenyam means choosing. Now, choosing in the Indian context has different meanings. Yeah? Like we choose someone as maybe our life partner or whatever, or we choose someone as our friend. In a way, what happens is Savitu Varenyam means you are chosen by the ultimate, not you choosing the ultimate. So, according to the Upanishads, what is that Vivrute Tanum Swam is that the ultimate will reveal itself to you. That is the ultimate choosing you. In the context is you have done your part to know the ultimate. The last point when it comes to getting past consciousness, the last point is when reality acts, like reality chooses you. It, in a way, it opens up to you. You have opened up to the ultimate, but now reality opens up to you. So in that way, it has chosen you. Tat savitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi. So devasya means savitu. Savitu and devasya are shashti. Case, if we could call it in English, like the sixth case. It's called vibhakti in Sanskrit. So the sixth case. So if both of them are the sixth case, they are referring to the same thing. So devasya and savitu mean the ultimate. Bhargo devasya dhimai. Now bhargo means the rays. So your rays, dhimahi, your rays have chosen me. That is one part of it. And then dhimahi, meaning I bow down now. Because it is a two-way communication in a way that you open up to the ultimate and the ultimate opens up to you. So I bow down, I worship the ultimate. And the bowing down is not just physically or mentally. It is from the deepest, the most profound part of your life form, like your whole life bows down. You realize that in front of the ultimate, I am just a drop. And when that reality comes to you, when you face that reality, you automatically bow down. So dhimahi, dhiyo yona prachodaya. Now what will happen is I will also, like the sun, like the ultimate, I will have also all these rays. And prachodaya, I will also, like the ultimate, my rays will also shine onto this world. Like there will be no place where I am not shining upon. So it is a metaphor towards the sun, but you can see how it really relates to within, like the sun within. And when the sun within is devoid of any clouds, then it shines onto everything that it has to shine onto. And when it shines with its brightness from within, there's nothing that is left unshone upon. Everything just is brightened up.
Wow. So firstly, Yogeshwar, these, description of both these mantras was just incredible, because these are kind of parts of what, like, people recite Gayatri Mantra all the time. And there is so much depth to it. And this is something that you're supposed to do daily. This is what you do daily. And you can see the power of it. You're saying that that's what you're holding on to. That's what you're reminding yourself on a daily basis. And that's part of the culture. That is a part of the culture, to focus on the ultimate in this way, in a personal way, every day, multiple times a day. That's what you do. So I want to invite other people to ask any questions or comments on this. This has been this is fantastic. Give me just a second. Let me go ahead and unmute everybody. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, thank you, Yogeshwar. I think that that's a total. Your experience made me think totally different when I read this one before. So I just like to know is Bhagavad Summon, right? And Gayatri Mantra. Both are mantra, one 8 syllable, one 24 syllable. So is that like every single, well, I would say every single, I would say assume 90% of the Indian know that and sing it. Am I correct? Just very popular.
Gayatri is really known. It's really profound. Like I would say right now, maybe not 90%, but at least 70% of people know it. They recite it. Now, knowing it in a way that just reciting it, they know it. But then, the deeper meaning within it while reciting it, sometimes while doing it continuously, the deeper meanings are forgotten. And then only the recitations are continuing. So in that way, I would say, yes, they know it. And then in another way, if they've forgotten the real essence of it, then they also do not know it.
Okay, so well, of course, I don't know how much you know about Buddhism. So kind of, I just make a similarity, just like in Buddhism society, people keep singing the mantra, right? Like Namo Ami for Tosa, like this, right? And everybody know it, but not everybody know the meaning. And if you go to the temple, sometimes you see the monk, they just walk in and singing this syllables, right? All day long. Okay, so sounds like a similar the situation. If you go to, I'm in Taiwan now. If you go to on the street, ask people, do you know Namo Ami for Namo Ami Toposa? People say, I know, I heard about this, but the meaning probably most of people don't know. But they probably not practice, at all. Right? Sounds like it's a similar situation.
Sure. Let me go ahead and ask people who are familiar with it. Jyoti, are you there?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what Gayatri Mantra does for you, and maybe if you're okay with it, if you could recite it yourself?
Okay. Well, like I had said earlier, this is a mantra that I understand is a glory of the sun. I worship the sun in the morning, and it's basically the core meaning that I understood was that it removes your sins, the darkness in your mind, and it stimulates your intellect so that you can think and acquire knowledge. And knowledge, like you had said, not only about the outside world, but within yourself, your spirit. and I recite it in the morning, at night, in the evening, when the sun is setting. So it gives me a lot of mental satisfaction.
I need
It
a
gives,
video, but I hate
hello?
being on camera. What are my options? I can.
You are muted.
You're on mute, Shrikant.
Sorry, go ahead, Jyoti. There was
Yeah.
a problem with this one. It's fixed. Go ahead.
So that's the meaning that I understand. It's the basically glory of the Creator, Son.
Would you be able to recite it, say it in your own way?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Om Bhur Swaha Tasvitarvarheniyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. Om.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Sure.
So I want to point out this because what I'm realizing, especially when I did this presentation on the Gospel of John and Bhagavad Gita, that sound is a crucial part of the Indian culture, and it is through the sound. So imagine this, you're saying this every day, and now it is true that many of these things become rituals and people do it without grasping its meaning, but that was not the original intent. Original intent was to actually think of these things and focus on these things on a daily basis, many, many, many times a day, so that you would think like that. So this is, so it's very profound. And what it does is that those sounds echo in your head, and they echo in your head, and they will come to you when you need them. It is a form of using your mind, which is different than reading. And mantras are designed for that. The musicality of Sanskrit is designed for that. It is designed so that you can remember the emphasis of, and these mantras are very carefully designed so that the emphasis is at the right place. It enables you to think of these things. So for example, in chapter 17, Krishna talks about Om Tat Sat. It's the simplest, it's a very much simpler mantra. So Yogeshwar, could you describe just that, Om Tat Sat? How Krishna talks about it, because then we will get 3 examples of mantra. Go ahead, Yogeshwar.
Yes. So, Om Tat Sat. One thing to note here is Krishna in chapter 17, he says that at the start of any good, auspicious activity, or at the end of the same activity, these 3 words should be recited. So one thing is, it is a remembrance that every activity I am doing for the ultimate. I am doing for that vast unmanifest that I cannot offer to. This is a way of my offering. My actions are the offering. And then Om Tat Sat. Om is that which points towards the unmanifest. It is the ultimate. It is something that is manifest to us. But then when it is viewed as a pointer to the unmanifest, like it is pointing towards, So do not stop at the finger that is showing you the moon, but look at the moon, not the finger. So Om, when you look at Om, do not only look at Om that is being recited, or that is being said, or that is being heard, but look at the Om that is existent in each and every being, in each and every part of the world, that Om. So Om, that means that, or thou. So that which is Om, that unmanifest is Sat, is the truth. So always reminding yourself, what is the truth? Am I going towards the truth, or am I going towards something that will devoid me of the truth? Or something which makes me run away from the truth? Always you're reminding yourself that the truth, the unmanifest that I have to go towards, I have not yet reached. I am supposed to reach it with my actions, with my dhyana, with my sankhya, with my bhakti. I have to go towards it.
Wonderful, beautifully put. Thank you. Thank you, Yogeshwar. Shall we continue?
Yes. Masanam margashirshoham ritunam kusumakara. Of those months, of all the 12 months, which in the Indian calendar, it is known as the lunar months. It's not solar months. The year is not divided up by months using the sun, but it's divided into 12 months using the lunar activity, using the moon, according to the movements of the moon. Out of those movements of the moon, when it comes to Margashirsha, yeah, when it comes to that month, which is just after December, like end of December, start of January, around there, it is the harvesting time. Like when each and every plant has gone towards not only flowering, but it has flowered and it has fruited. Now, when you look towards yourself, at the consciousness level, you are a seed, then you get towards growing up a seedling, and then you get towards a full-fledged tree, full-fledged plant, and then you flower. You know, becoming a full-fledged plant is really important, but you never see the beauty before it flowers. You see the beauty when it flowers. And then it becomes of great use to you, like when it has sprouted seeds onto itself, like it has become a fruit now again. It has gone, now that fruit, what happens is that one seed has become so many fruits. If you look at any tree, when you put in one seed, it gives so many fruits to you. So in the same way, when you're a seed, you become a seedling, a plant, then flowered, and then now you've become a fruit again. That fruit is of great importance here, because when you look at the harvesting time, yes, it is a good thing for human beings for the eating, but also look at the status of the plant itself. It is at its fullest. Like there is no fuller being of a plant after that. So also at the level of consciousness, when are you at your fullest? Like when have you not only flowered, but when have you fruited as well? That state, when, like the time of the season when you have fruited, is me. That's what Krishna is saying. That time is me. Normally this verse is only known to be the harvesting season, and when we look at the harvesting season, we look at our needs, like our need to eat. or our need for us to consume the seeds or to consume the fruits. But look at it with the plant's perspective as well. And that's what I would like to do. Like how the plant has reached the highest of its own, when your own consciousness can reach the highest of its own. That is Masana Margashirsha. That time when you reach the highest of your consciousness. Ritunam Kusumakaraha. The same way the lunar is divided into 12 months, it is also divided into 6 seasons. Mainly 3 seasons, which makes up for 4 months each season. But then there are also 6 seasons. Even those seasons are divided into 2 each. So that will give you 6 seasons of the whole year. And one of those seasons is Kusumakara, or it's called the flowering season. Now, for a plant that makes fruits or brings out fruits, like a mango or an orange or that, the highest possibility is a fruit. From the plants that give out flowers, the highest possibility is a flower. Like there's some plants that only give out flowers. Like when they flower, that is the highest possibility they can come to. So that time when that plant has reached its highest possibility is me. And there's also another profound thing, that when you move out, like when you move out and you see these plants and they are flowering, there is also that unknown bliss that comes onto you during that time. Like you can see them that they're flowering, they're reaching the ultimate state. And you also feel like, I should also do something like that. I should also reach my ultimate state. Why am I day in, day out, living the same day for 7 days of the week, living the same week for all the months, and then living the same month all the 12 months? And then sometimes you also realize you've lived the same year all your life, like there's been no change. So now why not bring in some time when you've reached your flowering, when you are changing into the best possibility you can be. And that time when you are changing to your best possibility, I am. That's what Krishna is saying.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Yogeshwar. So folks, go ahead. Any questions, any comments, any general comments at this point? This is it for the verses. So just opening up for any comments of any kinds at this point. It can be as broad as you want or as specific as you want. Give me a second here. Yes, go ahead, David.
Yes, thanks. And following up on Gary's comment yesterday, I was wondering if you, Shrikant, or Yogeshwar make more of a comment about the specific references to the harvest months and the seasons of spring from such an agrarian society and such a farming-based society, if the more context of how, again, those specific choices in this Bhagavad Gita and the broader understanding of the meaning of those specific terms of Krishna being in those things in the context of Indian society.
Yogeshwar, would you like to answer that?
So one thing about these times, like Margashirsha, another thing is also that at that time, it's neither so hot, it's neither so cold, it's just starting the cold season. So as well, when you look at harvesting time, it is like almost coming to the cold, and for everybody, like for everyone in this part of the world, like in India, it is a time when you're not feeling hot or you're not feeling cold. It's the time when it is like the optimum. You can do what you want. And another thing is also farming specific as well, like farming, like when a farmer has received his harvest, before he receives his harvest, he has only put in all his sweat into the earth or into his trees, his plants. He has put in all his life. It's not like, before when people used to farm, it was not like now, like they're farming for money or they're farming for somebody else. The farmers in India used to farm for themselves. Like this is the food that they're going to eat the whole year, the food that is going to sustain them the whole year. In that context, when a farmer has put in all his own being into his farmland, he has put in his sweat into the farmland, he has put in all the months of the year into the farmland, and then he realizes this fruit. You see, there's a profound joy that comes onto the farmer. There's not the joy that now our family will be sustained, or not the joy that, or like now we'll receive food, but there's another profound joy, like just the joy that what I have been cultivating all this time has fruited. What I have been working on all this time has fruited. Like the same joy of a person who is doing something creative, maybe even painting in these days, yeah? He receives a profound joy when the paint work is done. It's like fully fledged. There's a profound joy there now. Like my painting has come to its fullest. And at that time, you can see that there's that joy that Krishna is referring to that is more profound than just the needs that our body has or just the needs that our mind has. But when you can put in everything of your life into, and then it fruits out.
Thank you, Yogeshwar. So, David, that's a fantastic question. Actually, this chapter 10 is a very challenging chapter for me. When I came to it first, I did not fully grasp its power. What it is doing is that it is actually giving you a tour of so many things in existence at so many different levels of abstraction. Things we are going and take and look at it, how it is slicing and dicing existence, of the world in so many different ways. Consider this verse itself. It is saying something about the months, and it is saying something about seasons. It's part of the same year. It is saying that that month of harvest, that is of meaning to somebody who is harvesting. And then there is the season of spring, which is a natural, which is part of nature. And it is saying, I'm here and I'm here. And it goes on, it's like human qualities. It talks about time. It talks about, so it is going through, firstly, it is trying to show that the universal principle, the Tao, Brahma, is operating everywhere. Secondly, it is pointing out some points within the cycle where it is, there is like a high point of that. And it's saying, look at that. Look at that. And it is doing it along so many different dimensions. And I'm really grateful to Yogeshwar because I think he's bringing that out so much more. Compared to what my reading was of a chapter and what happened in the meetup, I think that difference in this chapter 10 is far more than anything else. So I'm learning so much more as a result of that. Okay, anybody else has any comments? Go ahead and type exclamation mark if you have any comments. Otherwise, I want to tell you about the meetups that are coming up. Okay, so the meetups that are coming up, I've gotten hooked onto Gospel of John, and I'm continuing to work on my diagram. And I've now gone through chapter 3 and 4, and I'm planning to go more. So I'll cover 3 and 4 tomorrow. I'm going to map that. Similarly, if you have not heard the mapping of John 1, it is there. Joe, if you could do me a favor and put that link in the chapter in the chat. So that's going to be tomorrow at 9 p.m. Mapping of Gospel of John, and I'm doing that first. I'm changing slightly in the sense that I'm doing it just on its own terms first, and then I will deal with questions about its relationship to Bhagavad Gita. Next, on Sunday, we're going to have Mark Stallman back, and he's going to talk about God's diplomat, and we're going to have a guest speaker, Victor Gaitan, who has written the book on the role of diplomacy that the Vatican, the Catholic Church, has played throughout history. And he's specifically going to talk about what role Catholic Church has played in the Ukraine and Russia context. He's one of the very few people who is aware of what has been going on, and he's going to be talking about that. So that's going to be Sunday at 3 p.m. Sunday at 5 p.m. we are going to wrap up our discussion of Ayn Rand's Fountainhead. It's going to be an overview. So if we are also going to be discussing Fountainhead, the movie, and looking at how a movie adaptation of a novel works. So that's going to be at 5 o'clock. On Monday, we will do poetry. The poetry meetups are going incredibly well. And on Tuesday, we are going to have the final verse, number 81. I hope it's going to be the whole verse, Joe. What do you say?
No. So Jason and I were talking through chat, and he's going to do a translation in Sanskrit for 81 more verses, and then one feminine, one masculine. So we have 162 weeks planned.
Of the 81?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it might be less than that, maybe 81 weeks, because that it will cover a couple a week. We'll cover both a masculine and a feminine in 1 week.
It is true that the Tao is eternal, but go ahead, Jay.
I'm hiring a private tutor to teach me Sanskrit, so I have a 3 days to catch up. So hope I can do it.
All right. Wonderful. And what we will do is that after this, we are going to do one more version. We're going to look at all the translations that Jason has done from, I think, 60 to 81, something like that. And we will run through it so you can see the beauty of it all together. Hopefully that will be the week after next. And then I will talk to Jason about when we are going to start Kansu. I'm really looking forward. You can't really, you can't just be focused on Lao Tzu. You have to look at Kansu too. So really looking forward to that. All right, so that's what is coming up. And on Wednesday, CJ is going to be back to do a meetup, and he's going to actually do a review of all the comprehensivist techniques that he's been talking about. So that's going to be an incredible meetup. Don't miss that. All right, and on Thursday, we'll be back with the Gita meetups. Yogeshwar, thank you so much. I particularly loved the 3 mantras today because these are so deep and those are so familiar. At the same time, it is good to kind of dig deep into it. So thank you so much. All right, thank you everybody. And let's see, Utsav, are you there still? No, Vatsal, sorry, Vatsal. So I just have to tell you this. I ran into Vatsal. this is in New York. So I was just walking and I saw Vatsal looking at me, and he looked like a curious and serious person. And I'm on the premise of talking to anybody who is curious and serious. And he was looking at me, and then we crossed, and then I stopped. I said, and then he came back and he asked me, do you run 52 Living Ideas? Because he's a big fan of OODA Loop, and he has been watching all our OODA Loop videos. So Vatsal, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was very, very strange coincidence just bumping into you on the street. But yeah, good to see you. And
wonderful. Did you enjoy the Gita meetup?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.